it is the season of giving, and our first guest is here to show you a trick to give a true gift of the heart. We welcome back cooking instructor Jessica Hansen. Great to see you.
Thank you. Great to be back.
You always bring beautiful things, and it smells so good in here already. We haven't even gotten started.
Right. Well, there's some options for what you can give that you can make that are relatively easy in your kitchen and really speak from stuff that you either have at home or seasonal ingredients, and it's something that can be used in the house, which is really nice to not have one more thing to set down. This is one more thing to incorporate into your daily cooking.
No clutter. It's something you can use, and it's something that your gift giver made with their own hands. That's really special.
Absolutely. And I'm going to show you how easy it can be to do. We're making seasoning salts. So it could be just a salt with something incorporated into it, or multiple seasonings. And I just want to show you a couple different variations, and we've got a couple different ways to use them. So this is just a salt with just lemon zest in it. And when I say lemon zest, that means I am very simply taking this zester and taking that off, putting it into a food processor like we did here with a little bit of coarse sea salt and grinding it together. Then we bake it so it dries out.
Nice.
That's it. So we've got a lemon salt. You can smell the lemon in it if you want to just kind of take a whiff of that. And then we can add additional things. So that's just a lovely lemon zest salt.
That's delightful.
We could add other things to it to make it its own seasoning. So in this case, we added a little bit of dried parsley. If you want to toss a little bit of that onto there. And then you could add garlic, you could add cayenne. There's all sorts of different things that you could do. And then you just mix it together, and that's all you need to do to make whatever is a really kind of common thing for you to go to. Maybe some herbs, lemon, salt, maybe black pepper. And it turns out to be a beautiful gift like you would see right here.
And look how fun that is.
Right? And
put a bow on it and you're done.
Put a bow on it, you can make a cute little label, but that way they could just turn to this just to spice up their vegetables. For instance, this is just some nice roasted broccolini, and then you've got the flavors of not just seasoning and salt, but a little bit of garlic and a little bit of lemon zest.
Seems really fancy.
It seems fancy.
And they'll think of you every time they use it.
Right?
And they'll send you a nice message and say, hey, I'm cooking with my seasoning salt tonight.
Look at what I did.
That's so sweet.
Another one that we like to do with a bigger, flakier salt. So this is like the Jacobsen sea salt that's bigger pieces.
Love that.
And this is a nice finishing salt. And in this case, we took dried flowers. And these are dried edible flowers that we did in the garden this summer. Blue corn flowers. You can also buy dried edible flowers if you don't have a garden. But for instance, it ends up being this really beautiful sea salt that just allows for bigger chunks. So this could be a nice finishing salt.
Turn this forward to our camera because that's really impressive looking too.
So if you put that on, imagine a fresh mozzarella salad, or in this case, we could put this because it's not going to add a lot of floral flavor, just beautiful color to maybe some fresh baked focaccia. That makes sense. So that's another idea. And then one of my absolute favorites, because it's my favorite flavor, one of my favorite flavors is rosemary salt. The versatility with the earthiness of rosemary is so good. So all you have to do is take rosemary. So this is something that you do when you have a rosemary bush. And if you don't have one, plant one because they're super durable. And all you need to do is take the pieces off very simply like this. Put it into a food processor with, again, coarse salt. So if you're not familiar with the difference, there's regular, kosher salt, the salt that you would use all the time for cooking. And then there is kosher salt. Feel the pinch on that. The coarse salt is a little bit bigger grind, and that way when you're grinding this with the rosemary, it doesn't end up too fine. That's an example of that, like at the grocery store. Coarse sea salt. And then you grind it, and then look at how lovely that ends up looking. Just as an example, we can mix this with more just regular kosher salt to build it, but the vibrant color of that is beautiful. We just lay this on a sheet pan just the same, just like this, and dry it out. And then you're ready to go.
So what is that process? You're going to toss it in the oven at a low temperature?
Yep, great question. 200 degrees if you want to do it for a quicker amount of time, or if you just want to park it in the oven overnight, and your oven goes as low as like 100 degrees, 110, just as a dehydrator, just allow it to sit overnight. And the goal is that's just to increase the shelf life. This, once it's completely dehydrated, will last virtually indefinitely. Yes.
That's a great thing.
And then another fun one, but this rosemary salt is, again, this is our dried version of it, is a beautiful thing to put on meats, potatoes, vegetables. So this roasted chanterelle mushrooms with some roasted potatoes, I love to put it in tomato soup. I love it on mac and cheese.
Come on now.
That's even in my kids' lunch. This is what we put on their very simple lunches.
It just takes the simplest dish up another level. And it makes it seem like you worked really hard to make it all fancy.
When it's just a little salt that you can give as a gift.
That's beautiful.
And then another fun way to use these are for cocktails. So you could make it salt, or you could make it sugar. But if you're making like a paloma or a margarita, we started over here with a a grapefruit zest. So took the zest off it, just like the lemon, blended it together with salt, spread it out, and I added a little bit of chili flake to it.
Ooh.
So a little, both a bigger grind like Aleppo chili and a little bit of cayenne for actual heat.
Okay.
And then you have this beautiful rimming salt. So all you need to do is, if you want to grab that glass, get it a little wet, if you will.
Okay. And how do you know when you're throwing in ingredients how much to use of each thing?
Well, I'm going to have on your website some recipes, so you've got those guidelines.
Okay.
But also just taste it. It's always a good idea. And then you've got this.
Look how pretty that turned out.
Right. And so with just like a nice little seasonal sprig of rosemary, we've got some grapefruit juice, and just to make it a little bit lighter this holiday season, I'm choosing to make a lot more spritzers than cocktails.
That's a good idea.
So just a little bit of this beautiful rosé spritz on there, and you've got with some.
It's a long holiday season. We've got to pace ourselves.
Nights can be long. People like to have a good time.
We've got a lot to do.
So we've got a lot of different uses, and I find when you give a handmade from the kitchen gift, it's a really good idea to tell them what you like to use it for.
Sure.
So maybe even a little recipe card or just a note to say, hey, I like my rosemary sea salt on my tomato soup.
There you
my
go.
mac and cheese, my potatoes or roasted carrots. So that just gives them an idea of how to use it so they don't find it next Christmas and go, what was I going to use that for?
Yeah, and you don't even have to write out an entire recipe. Just give them little ideas of options that it really blends well with.
Yep. And you can do all sorts of things with labeling, but just simply, there's lots of different jars that you can just pick up at Michael's, depending on the type of gift you want to give, or if you want to give a multitude of them, we've got
I was going to say that's great for budget gifting too. If you've got a big crowd to give to, everybody get something special, and you're not going to spend a fortune.
Right.
And it's really special
and
too.
It's something that you can even do with your children. So this is just a fun holiday activity that you can come up with a lot of different gifts that can be used in a lot of different ways throughout the year, which is really fun.
Genius, beautiful, we love it all.
Well,
thanks for stopping by.
We're so happy to be here, and I want you to make sure to try some of this so you can see some of the impact that this makes.
Don't worry, everyone on set has been waiting to taste this, so I'm sure it will be gone in about 30 seconds after we're done with this segment. Thank you so much. It was great to see you.
Oh, great to see you too. Thanks
so much.
We'll
have all that information on our website at katu.com, and we'll be right back with more Afternoon Live right after this.